So sternoclavicular, not likely to be the real issue, not likely to get a dislocation unless you're Tyreek Hill and you get slammed to the ground. If you watch the Jacksonville game. Anyways. So the other aspect though is a fall on an outstretched arm, because this joint itself is very strong, has a lot of ligaments, has your interclavicular, it also has full support insofar as ligaments around, and it's a very solid joint. So not likely to be a place where people say it hurts right here, unless they've had like a dislocation or something serious insofar as a fall on a outstretched hand. But you will see as you do these mobs that potentially it will cause symptoms down the arm. And if you think back to the picture that we showed earlier in the presentation of the brachial plexus location, that might be part of the reason, but then anyone with trauma potentially may present with that same sort of sternoclavicular type of influence. So we want to look at the play of this joint. Have you lie down on your back. So dummy thumb comes into play, and we're going to start first with anterior posterior. So in doing that, we know insofar as the clavicle goes, the clavicle is a curved joint, right? And so we have this aspect of very much like the thumb of a saddle joint. So we can, if you will, because it's convex and concave in both dimensions, what we have to do is sort of appreciate that. Now, as you look at that, it's not a flat, real bone. It's curved like so. So what that means is when I go to mobilize it, I'm going to slide my thumb. It'll go all over the place. So I want to have control of this dummy thumb. If I just do this, I'll tend to go all over the place. So what I've found to be helpful is to sort of do this type of approach of laying the hand down flat and then changing the direction of what I'm doing with my other hand. Now that could be like you see can you see that up close?
Yeah.
Okay. So it could be that as I'm doing that, I might hyperextend that joint. If that's the case, I might use kind of this, my palm of my hand to mobilize that. And this was the painful sign. It was actually
kind of
others.
painful.
Okay. So I could do this, or as long as I'm not hyperextending that joint, I can do this. So here's our grades. And what I'm trying to do with this hand is let this hand relax. And you can imagine because of breast tissue, I need to be concerned about that. If that was a problem, this is a way to protect that person, or to have them have a towel, and then the hand is on the towel. Okay? So just so there's a barrier goes a long way in sort of communicating that I had no intention to get anywhere close to that. Okay? So this is our A to P. And then I'm going to change my angle, and here's my superior to inferior. Now if he adds in too much motion in his head, what happens is he tenses up the sternocleidomastoid, and that influences it. So superior to inferior, same idea. I can do this, or I can do this. Feel that difference in the grade now that I'm adding more pressure? Okay? Any questions on that? And I'll show them in a second. Okay, go try that.